Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dry Bar Comedy Podcast, the only podcast that's funny for everyone, where you get to hang out with some of your favorite dry bar comedians. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan Macon.
And I'm the other host, as usual, Taylor Nielsen.
And Taylor Nielsen's really taking 2024 seriously. New year, new you, right, Taylor?
New gravelly voice, yeah.
Yeah.
I got something going on. I was a little sick.
How are those resolutions going?
I wrote them down in a Google Doc.
Nice.
So they're written somewhere.
Share that with me, and I'll keep tabs.
Good. Thanks for holding me accountable.
For sure.
And if you had any resolutions, I'd do the same for you. Do you?
No. Nope. Those lead to disappointment and regret, so I'm just going to keep on.
Okay, it makes my job easier.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
All right, should we jump to our clip today, see who our guest's going to be?
Yeah, let's jump to our clip.
People always ask me if this bracelet is one of those copper magnetic healing bracelets. Like, oh, does that thing work? Like, oh yeah, man, I was in a wheelchair last week. This thing's been kicking some butt for me, man, I'm telling you. I'm gonna put it on this arm next week. Actually, I better take it off soon, you know, I don't want to get too bitter. That might mess up my gig, you know?
Well, you know who that was. You've seen him on Last Comic Standing. You've seen him on America's Got Talent. He has 2 beloved dry bar specials. Give it up for Josh Blue.
Well, hello. How you fellas doing?
Great, man.
Good,
Thanks for
man.
coming out.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm
Of course.
surprised as always.
Yeah.
It looks like is that the very bracelet from the
Oh,
from
yes,
the bit?
that is it. Yeah, I've have this since I was 15.
Whoa.
It's from Senegal, West Africa. I got it for my birthday when I was living there.
That's cool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Why were you living there?
My dad's a professor, so I got to live there for a whole year when I was 15 and 16. So
Wow, that's
interesting.
cool.
really cool experience. Definitely changed my life for the better.
Yeah.
That's sweet. What kind of professor?
He was teaching American Lit at the time, but in the States he was a French and Italian professor.
Okay, interesting. Do they speak French in Senegal?
Yeah, Senegal, yeah.
Yeah.
French is the colonial language, and then the native language is Wolof. And I also speak that pretty, not fluently, but enough to start a fight, you know?
That's amazing.
That's what you need in any country, is
Yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
find the bathroom and start a fight.
Fisticuffs, yeah, that's right.
Jordan is or has been a professor as well, right? You've taught at a university.
Yeah.
And
People will always get up. People that are professors will get very mad at calling me a professor, because most people that teach at a university aren't professors. Professors like the top tier, like you have to get tenure, you have to do a dissertation, PhD. There's a lot of instructors at universities,
right.
but students call me professor.
Right.
Do I stop them?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Just take what you can.
But for
man.
someone that's actually a professor to be like, I'm also one, I'm like, now I got a master's in communication, so they let me teach public speaking.
Instructor's not quite as lofty of a term, is it?
No.
It sounds like a step below teacher, even.
More of a friend than anything. Just more than a teacher.
Sounds like the guy that would get the professor a coffee.
Yeah.
You just snap for your instructor to show up.
Sorry, my mic keeps flying away from me.
Sorry.
It doesn't like your breath.
Bad. So I assume your dad was probably full PhD.
Yeah,
professor.
tenured, yeah, all that. So
Yeah.
retired now, but yeah, he was definitely a good long career, probably almost 50 years of teaching.
That's cool.
My dad speaks 13 languages, so he's a genuine genius.
13?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, smartest guy I know for sure. I mean,
Wow.
he's old now, but I'm not saying he's less smart. He just can't recall it quite as well.
Yeah.
you know?
Man,
It's still up there though.
So yeah.
you know off the top of your head what those languages he speaks are?
So it's all the Romance languages, French, Spanish, Italian, and then just so many Russian, Wolof. There's just so many Romanian. It's just like, why do you even speak these? Why do you?
Yeah, and how do you pick which ones you want to speak to?
Exactly. I'm like, do you ever get that confused? He's, and like I said, he's just a super genius. He told me that the first time he taught Italian, he was only 2 chapters ahead of his students. So he was like teaching himself as he went.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
a genius then.
That's insane. Yeah.
But how many comedy specials does he have?
Exactly. And if he did, they're not funny.
He's writing the jokes in his mind
In
right before he tells them.
right in different languages.
Yeah, he's 2 minutes ahead of the audience.
Yeah, so I have I'm the youngest of 4, and all of us speak at least 3 languages in the family. So it's pretty cool.
It's legitimately so impressive to me because I can't. I took 3 years of Spanish, and I was like, I will never learn another language in my life.
Yeah, I
can't
barely
grasp
have
it.
this one mastered.
Yeah.
I don't have it mastered.
Yeah, I wouldn't-
the way if you've watched this podcast, it's clear I don't have a mastery of the English language.
I like talking.
In your special, that guy in the clip, you saw him laughing front row.
Oh yeah, that guy was dying the whole time.
But the one part he really loses it is your pigeon joke,
Oh,
where you
yeah.
say you caught a pigeon.
Oh yeah.
And it takes up so much time for him to stop laughing. Have you ever gotten a response like that before on that joke?
For sure. I mean, that joke is a classic heavy hitter for sure. So, that joke is one of my first jokes. It's on my first special, I believe. So it's like pretty old school joke, but it's still tried and true.
Yeah.
But.
It was funny just watching him try to recover and you trying to gauge, when should I start doing bits again?
Yeah.
Don't want to kill that guy.
Yeah, you don't want to kill people. It's fun, though. It's fun to destroy people with laughter.
Yeah.
Did you ever connect with that guy after or learn his name or anything?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he came up or anything.
That's fine. He was afraid what would happen if you channeled all your comedy power just on him.
Just explode.
He could have killed him. Could have been over.
So the genesis of that bit is that people asking you about your
My bracelet.
bracelet.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. People always just thought it was one of those ones that, for healing, and it's just decorative.
Right.
I mean, actually, in Senegal, these 2 balls on the end are supposedly protective from evil spirits.
Hasn't been working.
Cool.
Nope. I got the devil deep inside. Just kidding, dry bar. Just kidding. It's I don't know. It's definitely. I mean, and just to be upfront, this isn't the exact one that I had when I was 16 because over the years I've given them to several girlfriends. I have to go back to Senegal and get another one.
I feel like they should give him back.
I do too, man. But they never do.
Did you ask for him back?
No. Not that shallow. I'd rather fly to Africa than buy a new one.
That's funny.
That's great. So you touch on your cerebral palsy also.
Oh, that really rolled off your tongue, didn't it? It's a
That's going back to my mastery of the English language. Yeah. A lot of syllables in those words.
Do you have it as well?
I'm not diagnosed. Maybe I could be peer diagnosed. I don't know.
No, you're not like us.
So, I mean, that has obviously informed your comedy and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously I have cerebral palsy and I have to talk about it. You know what I mean? It's like coming from my point of view. So it's one of those things. It's like over my career, I've actually had some pushback, and people like, "Oh, you talk too much about palsy." And I'm like, "This is my life. This is what I know." Right. Like I tried to do it from a Southern Belle point of view, but it didn't work quite as well. So so it's one of those things where it's like, talk about what you know, and this is what I know, and then anybody who has that criticism of me hasn't really seen my show, because I'm a stand-up comedian that happens to have cerebral palsy, and I just talk about my life and everything. These are real experiences that happen to me. Like very little of my show is made up.
Right.
Like your first time doing comedy, did you talk about it, or is that something you learned to integrate?
I learned later to integrate it. It wasn't my first thing. And then the more I did it, the more I realized people wanted me to talk about it. And it's like the more honest you can be on stage, the more people can relate to it. And maybe you don't have cerebral palsy, but you have something in your life that holds you back or whatever, and people just really appreciate the honesty and just not being afraid to talk about the truth of the situation,
Yeah.
Right. And have you had people talk about them appreciating you, like sharing about your experience? People who also have, I'm not going to try and say it again because I'm afraid.
Let's do it.
Cerebral palsy.
Nailed it.
Okay.
That was wonderful.
That was
You've come a long way
Wow.
in this podcast.
I feel better already about this podcast. Someone has learned something today. You know what, man, over my career, I've had so many people reach out, either with palsy or with whatever. Again, everybody, in my opinion, has something that they struggle with. And
you gestured to me first, and then you felt like you had to gesture to
well,
Taylor.
no, I mean, both of you clearly have some issues going on. I'm just lucky mine is visible, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, no, but that's it. It's like, how many people over the years, I get like at least 6 a day on social media just saying, hey, thank you for putting us in the limelight and making it more of a comfortable thing for us to just live our lives. And again, it's people that don't even have disabilities say stuff all the time, like, seeing you do what you do gave me the courage to pursue painting or whatever they wanted to do. And again, I'm like, well, why did you need me to do that? But
but you did.
But if that's what you took from my show, because I'm fine with it, Like,
yeah, it's cool.
It's cool to be able to change people's lives.
Right. That's awesome. In your special, you talk about being on the Paralympic soccer team.
Yeah.
Taylor here plays soccer.
Really?
Well, not actively right now, but
So we were talking soccer before the...
Yeah, I played in high school. I played soccer.
Oh, nice. Yeah, a beautiful game, wonderful sport. And, getting to be a Paralympian is pretty amazing. I was in the 2004 Paralympics in Athens, Greece. And,
that's so cool.
I played I think I was on the team for 8 years, which is pretty cool. And, I never played on any team before that. I tried out in junior high for soccer, and they cut me from the team, which was like pretty devastating. A young man's life, and I just I always said this about junior high, like, just let me come to practice. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to put me in, but let me excel and learn the game and learn what it's like to be on a team and part of something. And and then the other funny part of that is, like, I'd love to talk to that coach that cut me, because I can guarantee you none of those players made it as far as I did in soccer. And it's really interesting because I didn't find the Paralympics till I was 22 or 23 years old, which is a total bummer. It's a lot more well known now, but if I had known about this when I was a teen, I could have been on the team for 15 years and just become a much better player. But traveled all over the world playing soccer and representing the U.S. and what an amazing experience. And
that's cool. So you really hadn't been part of a team at all until you were part of the Olympic team.
yeah,
That's wild.
pretty crazy. Which it says a lot about my soccer skills or the fact that there's just a very shallow player pool.
Right.
What position did
I was
you play?
striker.
Oh, cool.
Forward up.
What were you, Taylor?
I was striker. No.
You were a defender, I can.
Left back.
Yep. Left out.
And all right, I got some game. I got some game time. I got some play time.
All right,
Josh,
I believe
all
you.
right?
I believe you.
No, but when I was younger, I used to play forward,
Yeah.
and then something happened.
And he never made a
You
goal.
I feel like I got too long.
You got big. You're tall.
But I'm pretty fast though. I am pretty fast. I was playing capture the flag with my family the other weekend, and I was kind of the
smoked
star
them?
player. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a flex that is.
Yeah, I used to
My
be-
nephew was crying by the end of it. It was
Good.
awesome.
That's a sign of success. Yeah, I used to be really quick. I was. I'm not a distance runner at all. I cannot run long, but like within a 10 to 15 yards, I was like the fastest like startup guy on the team.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I could just get to the ball quicker than anybody else. Just the instinct of just going and smacking the ball into the goal.
Yeah. That's
It's
awesome.
pretty cool. And again, like being on the Paralympic team, I found the Paralympics at the same time I started finding stand-up in the real world. Like I started in college, but when I moved to Denver, I found the comedy club, and I just started, and it was weird. It's like within like a 1 month period, I became Olympic team, and then I started doing professional shows, stand-up.
Wow.
Whoa.
And it was like I got on 2 rocket ships at the same time that were heading in opposite directions.
Yeah, seriously.
Because comedy is not really known for getting up early and jogging, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And it was weird because obviously stand-up is my career and my life, and it's just funny because I was on the Olympic team, but it was kind of just my side thing that I did.
Side hustle.
I just did
I'm an
it.
Olympian on the
Yeah, on
side.
the side. I don't
That's
really.
amazing.
Yes, yeah.
I do want to talk about your path to comedy, but I had a couple of questions about being in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which country was the meanest?
Man, there was. So we got beat by everybody pretty much, but the top 3 at the time was Russia, Ukraine, and Brazil, and they were all mean, man.
Really?
They were, like at the Olympics. Oh, and then Argentina in the semifinals. Argentina was playing Brazil, and they got in a bench clearing brawl. It was
Whoa.
it was insane. It was so crazy. And like, just picture a bunch of guys with palsy and strokes and stuff. Just a left and another left and another left and another left and another left. I mean, it was insane. And we only played 7-a-side with smaller fields.
Right.
So after that, so many players got kicked out of the game. It was 2-on-3, full field.
Wow.
The craziest thing.
A lot of red cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of red cards and a lot of running.
That's so funny. So were you there? You were there watching the brawl?
Yeah, I was in the stands for that one. Yeah,
Were you cheering for one side or the other?
I really didn't like either side, so I was hoping.
You were hoping for more violence.
Yeah, I think we were already disqualified, they already knocked
Yeah.
us out of the game, so it didn't really matter. But it was fun to watch.
That's funny.
I
Were there
know.
any countries that were cool? You're like, oh, I would hang out with Canada or whatever.
Yeah, Canada's cool. The Irish and the Scottish were really fun, and then the English were fun.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we definitely had... My first tournament that I ever played in was in Holland, and we won that tournament. It's the only men's team to win outside of the U.S., like, any tournament.
That's cool.
in a U.S. men's team. And it was my first tournament, and I scored 3 goals in the tournament, and like they were like dubbing me as the new phenom that came in. And,
Yeah.
And then it was cool. We were in the finals versus England, and they were giving me a lot of the attention, like defensively, and what they didn't realize is that the star player is this dude named Josh McKinney, and he's so good. So we made it to overtime in the game, and I toe poked the ball off their player, and I passed it back to one of our defenders, and then he kicked it over the top to Josh McKinney, and he finished the game for us.
That's awesome.
And just this is really exciting for me and obviously for Josh, but he is getting into the Hall of Fame in a couple months for U.S. men's soccer. So it's pretty cool. It's really a cool thing. And so he's one of the, I don't know if he still has this record, but he has the most goals of any U.S. men's player ever. Like able-bodied, disabled,
cool.
anything. So.
And only because they were all paying attention to you. That's the only reason you got it, right?
Yeah. It's my assist that I give him all the time. I stole a couple goals off him in one tournament. He was shooting the ball, and I jumped to hit it, and it went through my hair. It touched my hair, and then went in the goal.
No way.
And
that counts?
I got credit for the goal.
That's amazing.
And then another goal against Russia. He smacked it so hard, and it hit the crossbar and went straight down and hit me in the chin and went in the
Man, it's that.
I want this highlight reel.
Yeah, that was great.
That's why you got to have big hair in that game.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the hair, team hair.
Intercept any kind of point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So, how many years did you do?
I think
the
it's
team?
about 8 years. Yeah,
Cool.
which
Wow.
is again pretty amazing to get to travel the world and represent the country, and then. But again, I was also doing Last Comic Standing at the time and doing all this amazing comedy stuff. So it was a ride for sure.
Well, tell us a little about how you got started in comedy then.
So I started in college, actually. I went to the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington.
My
Okay.
wife's from there.
I'm from
driven by that
Washington
campus.
originally.
Oh, yeah, cool. So
That's like a really cool artsy.
yeah,
liberal
it's
college,
very
right?
liberal arts school. And I got into a lot of creative writing at first, and then I did a lot of theater, and then I just started getting the idea that I could do stand-up. And at Evergreen, you can create your own courses and majors, and I created a stand-up course and basically said I would do, like, you just find a professor that will sign off on the curriculum that you prepare for yourself, and basically it was, watching Richard Pryor and all the greats on VHS tapes and studying them, and then I said I'd get my own show every week, and I found a band that was playing a coffee shop, and they asked me to do the 10 minutes between the first band and the second band, and it was amazing. So I did the first time. Coffee shop had standing room only, and the first band went on. Then I did my 10 minutes, and then everybody left. And then that happened 2 weeks in a row, and the owner was like, "Look, man, they're clearly just here to see you. They don't care about these bands."
That's
and
awesome.
Then she gave me my own Josh Blue hour every Wednesday, and I did. This is insane. I did a new hour every week.
How? That's insane.
How old were you at this time?
I was, I believe, 21, which is insane. As a comedian, I know that that's not what you do, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even know you're supposed to say the same jokes until you work them out. I just thought you just went up there and I was doing a lot of like storytelling and stuff like that. And I had so many experiences from living in Senegal, and I was a camp counselor at a camp for inner city youth for 3 years, so there's a lot of material there as a palsy guy, as a camp counselor, So that was insane. I don't even know how I did that, or I do have some VHS of those, and unwatchable. Unwatchable.
But people must have liked it. If people were coming out.
Yeah, and it continued. People would come, and it'd be standing room only in this coffee shop just to see me. It's so crazy.
Wow. And were a lot of these people your classmates, or?
I had friends, and I kind of was like, Evergreen is not like a popular, like, there's no sorority or frat houses. It's just like the artsy of the artsiest people. It's just like, but I was kind of like the big man on campus, which isn't like what it sounds. Just everybody knew me, and I'm just very personable to everybody. I say hello to everybody, and then over the years, I just became like, everybody knew who I was, and then they just came out and supported. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
we've interviewed a lot of comedians, but you're the first with an actual degree in comedy.
Yeah.
So
I'm the only person in the world that is actually working in the field I studied.
That's amazing. That's the first I've heard about people making their own degrees, but not to that extent. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I got credit for it, and then I did a final project on campus, just basically an open show to whoever wanted to come out, and just said, hey, this is. And it was weird because, I don't know about you fellas, but like, when you first do stand-up or you see it as a kid, you don't realize it's a thing that you can actually do. You just kind of see someone like a big name, and you're like, wow, how do they do that?
Right.
And then it's not till later when you start seeing other people do it, like at open mics, and like, well, if that guy can do it, I can.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I didn't have any of that. I just was like doing it, and it just was fun. And I mean, I had the worst stage fright of anybody ever. Like, it was
really?
terrifying. I hated it. I was so self-conscious of my disability and people judging me for that. And then, but then I just when I got on stage, something else took over, and I just was like I never write anything down. Like, I've never written one joke down. I just have these ideas, and then just take them to stage and hammer them out, and remember what I said, show to show, and next time I make the joke better.
That's impressive.
That's weird.
You feel like you learned a lot in doing those hour shows, or you learned more later when you had to do like tighter spots? And
I think, definitely, like, that was the groundwork of like filling time and going, oh, what am I gonna say now? Like, this is insane. What am I doing? But it wasn't until I moved to Denver and then found the comedy scene there, and that's a very interesting like story in itself. Like, I got a day job. I had a day job for 6 months of my whole adult life. Like, I got out of college. I was working at a day program for, like, as a daycare for adults with severe mental and physical disabilities. And very worthy job, but it just wasn't for me. And I just kept going back to, like, I want to do comedy. I want to do comedy. And then I was on what I thought was a date with a coworker, and we were downtown Denver walking around, and in Denver there's a 16th Street Mall, which is just like the street that goes through the heart of Denver, and I heard stand-up being pumped in on some speakers, and I like was drawn to the speakers, and I just went inside. And it was like an open mic stand-up show. And I was like, who's in charge here? I want to go on right now. And they're like, okay, buddy, whatever. Whatever, kid. I was like, I just was like, I know I'm funnier than this dude right now.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, okay, well, this show's all booked, but this next Wednesday is a competition at this bar. And I was like, I'm there. And I went and I got second place my first time up.
Wow.
And the only reason I got second was because the guy that won brought more people. I was
Right.
clearly like, I blew
You did better, but then
the politics. And then,
did you do your usual hour, or was it?
no, it was
a
like
little
a
tighter?
10-minute 10 minutes stuff. And
Is the guy that won still around?
no, never seen.
Vinny Monte.
That's hilarious. No. And then I did that competition every week after that. Like it was like a monthly competition, but there were other ones around. And then that guy beat me again the next week, and then I just won everything else after that. Like nobody was touching me. Like, it was crazy. And then I found Comedy Works, which is one of the best clubs in the country, downtown Denver. I was just riding my bike around, and I didn't even. It was before your cell phone where you can just Google like
Right,
where's
yeah.
the comedy club. I came upon it, and I was standing there, and this is one of those moments in my life where it's just so crazy, where there's all these posters of upcoming comics. I was just standing there daydreaming, and this couple walks up, and they're looking at the upcoming shows. And I look at them, I go, my face is going to be in this window one day. And they were like, we believe you. And it was like, most people would have been like, okay, buddy, we
Sure,
believe you.
guy,
But
yeah.
they said it like in a way that was like, the way I said it, they believed it. And within 2 months, my face was in that window. It's insane.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then Comedy Works had a big open mic contest, new talent, new faces contest, and I won that my first time through. And there was like 1,000 people try out for that.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
And I won that, and then it was just no looking back. I was embedded into that club, and they took me under the wing, and basically, I was like a 10-minute bike ride from the comedy club. I went there probably 6 nights a week, whether I was on or not. And they would just let me come and sit in the back, and I just drink Budweisers and watch comedy.
That's awesome.
And what a learning process of getting to see a headliner and see like 4 or 5 of their shows in a weekend and watch how they grow in the week or don't grow, and then being part of the staff where you're just kind of like watching the servers interact with that headliner and if they're talking trash about them behind their back, like this guy didn't tip, he's rude to us, or versus the people that are like, we love when this guy's here, and like to kind of take that information and put it into my budding career and just be like, and realize that like, yes, I'm the comedian, but I'm only a cog in the machine at the comedy club. Like,
right.
Like they're already a working machine, but you're the one that comes in and makes it go, but you're not the star of the thing, you know? It's an interesting philosophy, I think, to like, because whenever people are like cocky about their doing stand-up, I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't really understand what this is about. Because, like, to me, like, I'm here at, Wise Guys this weekend, and when I see the staff at the end of the night, and they're all like, you sold out the show, and we all made money. Thank you so much. Like, that is almost bigger than, like, selling out the show for me.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
just a cool thing that everybody benefited from what I do.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, my friend, you probably know Alex Valuto, but he always say comedy is really just a con to sell nachos. That kind of is a humbling way to look at it. Like, we're just there so they can make some money.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that makes a perspective. So tell us all the comedians that they really hated, the staff.
The list is too long. No, it's just, I mean, again, it's just a type of, if you're arrogant and cocky and don't treat the staff like people,
Yeah.
that definitely, and what's interesting too is I found that the staff really has a lot to say with your success, because they're the ones that watch every show. They're the ones that go back to the higher ups and go, yeah, this kid is really funny. He's a sweetheart, and he tips well, and he stays out of our way. You know.
Right.
So, that's I always tell that to young comics. Like, they're like, "What can I do?" I'm like, the best thing you can do is go to comedy and sit there and watch it, because so many people nowadays, I see them. They get a little heat on them, and they think they're a big deal. They come do their set, and then they leave. And I'm like, that's not what it is. You stay there and watch the show and watch how this headliner shakes hands afterward or talks to anybody. You know, it's like, because I always think that being a successful comedian, being funny is like the third thing on the list.
Yeah.
You know, you can be the funniest person in the world, but
That's really inspiring for Taylor to hear, actually.
Yeah. No. Okay, look, can we bump that down a few more notches for my sake?
yeah, for you. Just be a nice guy.
Yeah. And then we'll put mastery of the English language below that.
Yeah, that's definitely things to work toward, man.
You mentioned watching Pryor for your undergrad in comedy. Were there any headliners that you remember seeing early on going to the comedy club that like were inspirations or really helpful?
Sure. I mean, this is back in the day when Brian Regan was still doing clubs.
Yeah.
And like watching that guy come in and like, you know, it's interesting. You see somebody come in and they'll sell out 4 of the 5 shows, and then the next time they come through, they're adding a show, and then the next time they come through, they're everything's sold out within minutes of it going on sale, and then they're gone to a theater, you know. And I've seen so many comics do that. Like, I mean, I know he's not really well respected in the industry anymore, but Carlos Mencia was the same thing. That guy was a beast. He would come in and, I mean, sell out 6, 7 shows in a week, and people would wait in line, and he'd do 6-hour shows, and people would still wait in line to see the guy. And then he went to theaters, and like it, you know, there's so many comics that I've seen take that path. But what's interesting is that path goes up to a certain point, and then you start coming back to the same path. So like now Muncie is playing theater or clubs again, you know. So it's like, you know, and I'm sure you've heard it. Be nice to the people on the way up, because you're gonna see them again on the way down.
Right.
You know, that's very true. You know.
And Brian Regan's one of those guys. Like, I was hanging out at Wise Guys when he had just done the Delta Center.
Yeah.
And he came and hung out after.
Right.
But he walked into Wise Guys with people hanging out in the lounge, and he just made sure to introduce himself to, like, every single person there. And I'm like, and he looked so tired, too, because I'm like, he just did a huge show.
Yeah.
But I was so
That's
impressed
amazing.
with, like, wow, he really, like, wants people to feel welcome around him.
I mean, and he was one of the ones that I really admired, because that is who he is. He would walk in, look you in the eye, shake your hand, ask you your name, and just so humble and so kind. And, but just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Man,
You know?
seriously.
And, you know, he's not coming back through the club.
No.
That's one of the guys that's going to be a star forever.
Yeah,
And rightly
absolutely.
so. You know, rightly so.
He'll never have to face all those people he burned along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, he didn't burn anybody.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
No,
He's so
I know,
nice.
I know, but that's it. Like, he didn't have to.
He didn't have to be
that.
nice, really,
Right,
but he is.
He's just his nature, and you know.
That's so cool. So you started headlining at Comedy Works, and then can you talk about your path leading up to, you know, recording your first Dry Bar special?
I mean, that was, you know, I don't even remember what year that was. Probably, 5 years ago? I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in between there, for sure. You know, I just, you know, Last Comic Standing was the thing that really put me on the map as far as being able to sell tickets, you know, and I won that in 2006.
Okay.
Which is crazy
That's
to
awesome.
say. That's 18 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
That's nuts. But that show really put me on the map, you know. And then I did the same thing. Then all of a sudden I'm selling out theaters.
Right.
And I'm selling out every show at the clubs and stepping up to theaters. And then, there's when you do something big like that, there's a huge spike, and then it's hard to maintain that level. And I kind of came to that conclusion. I was like, wow, I hit a really high mark early in my career.
Right.
And it's going to be hard to maintain this level of that. But to my credit, it didn't necessarily go like back down. It was just more like a gradual thing. And as I went, little bumps would come back and push me back up.
Right.
And then like Dry Bar, that came along. And, Dry Bar has been around for a while now, right? I mean, it's been...
Yeah, almost 10 years.
And I remember when it first came out, and, I'm not known for my dryness. I'm not like a vulgar comic, but I'm definitely like to swear. And, so that's been an interesting ride for me because people, I think, what is my first special has 20 million views now?
Right.
Which is pretty crazy. But then I think sometimes people see me that saw me on Last Comic Standing and America's Got Talent and Dry Bar, and they think that I'm a clean comic where I'm not like vulgar, but I like to say swear words. I think they're like a condiment to the meal. It's not the meal, it just adds a little flavor.
A little spice, a little flavor,
Yeah, and it's just how I naturally talk too. So
Right.
Yeah.
I've been biting my tongue this whole interview.
You've done a pretty good job.
Well, thanks.
You've done a pretty good job.
Was that a hard adjustment? Because I know you've done clean stuff for like other maybe shorter things, but for the Dry Bar to do like full 25 minutes, was that hard or no?
I do a lot of corporate stuff, and they want you to be clean. But I've always been able to walk the line where where Dry Bar is different, where they'll penalize you if you don't be clean. Whereas in like a corporate event, if I say a couple swear words here and there, you can be maybe upset. But,
HR might frown a little.
But if I get a standing ovation at the end, you can't really say too much about that.
Yeah, totally.
So and again, it's like I can curtail it for X amount of time. It's maybe not my favorite way of doing stand-up, but I can do it.
Right. And you make it look natural, like it's not even a sweat.
Right. Well, again, I've been doing this 20 years, so it's
yeah.
It's
and he was doing hours right off the bat every week.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right off the gate. Isn't that insane? So
It really is wild.
So crazy. So stupid.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, we're really happy to have you back here.
Yeah.
Josh, and thanks for coming by and seeing us while you were in town.
My pleasure, guys. Well, I'm looking forward to my next Dry Bar.
Us too?
I'm looking at you guys.
If it was up to me,
if I had any power,
if it was up to me, you would do one every week.
An hour every week, a clean hour.
A clean hour.
It has to be a clean hour.
I'm gonna have to dry out some of my material.
Do you have anything you want to plug or mention before we get out of here?
As always, you can find me on social media, Josh Blue Comedy. It's my name and what I do. That's across all platforms. And then I have my specials are on Amazon Prime. I got 4 there, and I have a new one coming out hopefully within a few months. So keep an eye out. It's called Freak Accident. So I don't know where it will be, but you'll know it when you see it.
Very cool. Well, we're excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us. And
my pleasure. Keep working on that language.
Cerebral palsy.
Well done.
There we go.
Wow.
We've all grown, or rather, just me. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure to check the website for new specials. Hopefully, a Josh Blue special coming out sometime in the future, and merch and other shows. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.